What's up YouTube and welcome to the video. I'm the Red Professor and you are going to want to watch today's video. If you look back at my old videos, you'll see that I've addressed the topic of consciousness before, and now we're going back in. You already know the topic of today's video from the title, I assume. Let's get straight in. Here we go. First of all, what is consciousness? Now, for clarity, I'll define it now. Consciousness is the state of experiencing. Now, there are hundreds of different theories, and even ancient theories and understanding of what it means to be capable of experiencing something. But long story short, if it is possible for you to experience something from the inside, then that is consciousness. The question, are animals conscious? I'll go ahead and tell you the answer now before I make a few points. There is no way to even determine whether or not we as human beings are conscious and we're not just reproducing learned behaviors. It is then impossible to tell definitively that animals are conscious, instead of just appearing conscious. Humans put faces on things and humans anthropomorphize their imagination. Now, this is the point of view for most of history. In Christianity, humans are made in the image of God and we are given power and authority over animals. In Buddhist philosophy, animals exist in one realm. There's a realm of hungry ghosts and one of angels and demons, and then there's another realm in which humans exist. Now, humans are special, that they're the only species capable of escaping samsara and attaining nirvana. In Gnostic traditions, Sophia granted humans something not even granted to Yaldabaoth, who created the material world. Humans are given the divine spark, which is a direct connection to the monad. Whichever the religion, the message is clear. Humans and then animals. The reasoning is simple. Humans have developed complex language, art, culture, and a mastery of tools and building techniques that no other species can hope to compare to. That no other species has ever done. Now, let's take another look at the question. What is it asking exactly? Intelligence is the ability to use tools. Consciousness is the ability to experience things. A recent study showed that rats, when they're tickled, express laughter and smile. This proves that animals experience emotional states, but emotional states are something very different than consciousness. Emotions are tied to biology. By biology, I mean your brain. Yes, your emotional states and sensitivities and even emotions can all be affected by drugs like alcohol, or your hormones like testosterone, or any number of social factors. Now, if something can be altered chemically, then this suggests that it's not something special or sacred or supernatural. Consciousness, however, is something different from emotional states, as I've said before. Consciousness is the state of experiencing. Something else to consider. The mirror test shows that animals have self-awareness, which is already more than they're given credit for, at least some animals. This test is well known and it's not perfect because it tests a very specific kind of self-awareness. The animal is given a mirror to live with for some time. Then a small colored mark like a spot is placed somewhere on them where they can only see it in the mirror. Then a small colored mark like a spot is placed somewhere on them where they can only see it in the mirror. If they see the reflection and interact with the mark, then they pass the test. Chimps, bonobos, some birds, and some fish have all passed the test, while the vast majority of animals tested have failed. Keep in mind that failing doesn't prove much. Some animals rely on other senses like smell, some might recognize themselves and not care about the mark, and even human children fail the test up to a certain age. Inferring anything from this test runs into the same problem as earlier. The problem of other minds. The problem of other minds is this. We know that we are conscious individually, but we have no way to tell if someone else is conscious. We can infer it from how they behave, but we can never be sure. Calculators can respond, AI can converse, and animals can behave in a way that conscious beings might. Believe it or not, human behavior is something that is learned. There are a few extreme cases where humans have been raised in isolation and failed to ever reintegrate back into society. So just because something appears conscious doesn't mean that it is. Consider, life on this planet likely began by a few chemical processes. A lipid bilayer formed a vesicle which trapped organic compounds inside. Stable repeating chemical units form vortices, and helical molecular structures start to form. These early simple cells had unique properties. Self-replication allowed it to persist in the primordial soup. Later, alchemists would think that crystals were sacred. They can replicate and they can grow themselves. These fascinating structures seem to mirror early life on this planet. But to mirror something is not the same as being that thing. These are simple chemical systems that repeat and replicate themselves through simple physical and chemical interactions. They are governed by general laws. No part of them can be said to be alive. Without a brain that is allowed to integrate information from multiple subsystems, the organism cannot be imagined as being conscious. Plants, we say, are not conscious, even though they can respond to light and touch and chemical signals. The reason is ultimately that they don't have brain. Animals have brain. This is an elephant looking at a corpse. Elephants appear to recognize other dead elephants. This is an octopus. Octopi have brains that develop independently of humans. They have neurons in all their arms, and they have unique personalities, and they can solve complex puzzles. Perhaps then consciousness has evolved twice on Earth. Crows using tools. Beavers building huge structures. Ants working their entire lives for their queen. Are animals conscious? Now that you mention it, probably. Charles Darwin, in The Descent of Man, states animals differ in degrees of intelligence, not of kind. The idea that humans are somehow special is getting increasingly harder to justify given modern science. The official scientific position is something like this. The Cambridge Declaration is a statement made by renowned physicists regarding the official position of Cambridge University on the issue. Signed by scientists like Philip Lowe and witnessed by Stephen Hawking, the statement reads, "The weight of evidence indicates that humans are not unique in possessing the neurological substrates that generate consciousness." Okay, so that's the scientific position of most mainstream scientists. That humans are not special in their ability to experience consciousness. I will tell you now a blunt statement about how science approaches this issue, where modern science is going. Life, as we know it, is nothing more than an advanced abomination of chemistry that developed on this planet. We can't even prove that we are conscious beyond our brain's learned survival information. We have no real way to model the evolution of the first life form that ever existed. In fact, we move further away from it every year. How could we ever reasonably believe that the fact that we are alive, which we didn't choose, could be significant in a universe that has been aging since the Big Bang and will eventually cool into nothingness? What made us think that a single species that evolved via Darwin's natural selection would be the chosen ones, and that the others would be mindless biological machines? And how convenient that the chosen species is ours. My theory, which I shared on my channel, is that information processing units reduce entropy within systems, and this creates ordered states, which are able to be experienced. Chaotic states free from structure cannot be experienced, but information processing creates ordered states. Thus, the brain creates a relatively low entropy or high order state, allowing the body to experience it. So, are animals conscious? The answer is probably, to a lesser extent, but there is no real way to prove it, like I said before.